Before getting into today's video, I wanted to mention I'm giving out a 30% off discount code for all of my online courses, including my over 28-hour Mastering Chess Endgames course. This discount code is only good until the end of September. If you're interested in that, you can go down to the description below or the pinned comment, plug in the discount code CHESS25, and you will receive 30% off no matter how many courses you decide to invest in. Today's video is for those of you that play the move of pawn to e4 and you are trying to find a response against the Sicilian defense. Okay, if you play e4, at some point you're going to have to figure out what the heck you're doing with the Sicilian, right? I mean, there's certain moves you just got to know what you're doing. e5 is one of them. The Scandi is one of them. The CARO-KANN is one of them. You could throw in the French into that and the Sicilian as well. Now, of course, there's other moves that I'm a big fan of here for black, like the modern defense, Nimzowitsch defense, Owen's defense, PIRC's defense, you name it. But the move of pawn to c5 with the Sicilian is very popular, very common, and very high level. I mean, when you're looking at the Grandmaster level, we still see this all the time in terms of usage. And when you go up against this, you could go into the main line of knight f3 and d4. I wouldn't recommend it, though, because your opponent is going to know exactly what to do. That's what they've been studying for all this time. When I played the Sicilian defense back in the day, I played it for about, 5 years, 6 years, somewhere in that range. I was always prepping for knight f3 and d4, right? I played the Sicilian Najdorf. I spent hundreds of hours studying that theory, and that's what I usually saw. But I didn't study for off-key options like a3, or in this video, the move of b3. Now, if you play b3, the moment you do this, you are playing chess like a cowboy. You are playing the Cowboy Attack. A lot of you might know this move as the Snyder Variation against the Sicilian. Chess.com has recently changed the name from the Snyder Variation to the Cowboy Attack, which I'm a big supporter of. This move here was named after Robert Snyder. And I won't get into what happened with Robert Snyder, as there are kids, many of which are students of mine that watch this channel. But of course, if you're curious on who that is and what happened, feel free to go look that up. But I won't be getting into this video because of kids that watch this content. So this move b3, right? By doing this, you are playing the Cowboy Attack, and I'm a big fan of this move. I hope that you guys enjoy the lines that I'm about to share. And this is just really a whole new system, a whole new approach to playing against the Sicilian. And it can really give you some fun games. And it takes your opponent out of their prep. I mean, I could be wrong, but by playing the Sicilian defense, I don't think I ever prepped for b3, ever. I don't think I did. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever seen this move up until recent years. But it's very fun, and it's very strong. And for those of you that are going up against a Sicilian defense player, you don't know exactly what they're going to do. They could go into Sicilian Najdorf, Sicilian Khan, Sicilian Dragon. There's a lot of different things they could do. But for your opponent that likes to play g6 early, they're just not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to, think about that a couple times because there are consequences of doing that so early in many cases, depending on the position. That said, with the move of b3, let's get into it. What could we see from black here? Well, I want to start out by covering immediate kind of strikes that black can make against our pawn on e4, because b3 is a quiet move. It is aggressive. I mean, we're putting our bishop on the longest diagonal in chess, and f4 from there is a key idea in the Cowboy. But what happens if black strikes in the center, or just straight up attacks our pawn on e4 with their knight? Well, let's cover d5. My approach to this is going, you know what? It's kind of like we're playing against the Scandinavian defense, except black has a pawn on c5, we have a pawn on b3. That's the only difference, right? Now, if we take and black captures back and we play knight c3, are we happy about this? I would say we are. I mean, the queen can't go to a5, so a lot of players here as black bring the queen back to d8. That's what a lot of players tend to rock with. What I would say is that, if you do see queen to e5, you could block with the bishop. The engine doesn't love that per se because of bishop g4, but we could play queen e2. That's fine. Queen e2, and if black takes, capture right back. We're chilling here. We got two developed pieces. c5 is very far expanded, so b5 and d5 feel a little bit weak. If a6 is ever played, well, I mean, c7 was already a target, but b6 is now a target as well, and we're in a good spot. If the queen does run back to d8, we could just develop. Bishop b2, play a move here like knight f3, and knight c6 is the most popular move here. The question I often ask myself in the Cowboy is going, you know what? Okay, knight c6. Does bishop b5 pin the knight? Yeah? Okay, we're going to do it. Bishop b5, pinning the knight. If bishop d7, queen e2. We're going to see this come up multiple times in this system because in the Cowboy, you want to castle queenside fast. You're looking to fianchetto this bishop, castle queenside, and get busy attacking in the center and on the king side of the board. e6 here for black. What do we do against that? Well, again, we can castle. And something like bishop e7, we'd love to get our knight to e5, another common Cowboy technique. So here we can remove the defender and then play knight e5. And by the way, you don't got to be worried about bishop takes g2 because we play rook g1. I mean, if you leave the bishop there, thanks for the bishop. If you move the bishop to, say, c6, we could take on g7. We're double attacking f7 there. And if you play rook f8 or something, f4, stamping in the positioning of that central knight. And the Cowboy is winning this position. Going back, let's say black goes, you know what, I don't want you to play bishop b5, and we see a6. Okay, what do we do there? Fine. We play knight e5. These are all common ideas. Pinning the knight, getting our queen to e2, striking in the center with knight e5, maybe even supporting that knight with f4. Here, if queen c7, queen e2. I know our bishop is, you know, still on f1, but you also, at some point, can fianchetto this bishop too, and have two fianchettoed bishops. So for those of you that are aggressive players, or for those of you that play the hippopotamus defense, this is, you know, a type of style that you are very accustomed to. And if black tries to take space, let's just say they do that. First off, let's just acknowledge the fact that we have 4 pieces developed. Black only has 2. We can play a4. We can go after black's overextended pawn structure. If b4, essentialize the knight. And I love our game here. I mean, if you want to take, go ahead. We capture back. Here, if you attack us, queen e3. Black here has really pushed far with b4, c5, a6. c4 is completely ours. There is no pawn for black that will be able to cover that spot. And we got great vision on that. We got a great bishop on b2 that is really not allowing black to play g6 without worrying about sacrificial ideas, which, by the way, in the Cowboy, you can get all the time, especially depending on your level of competition. And yeah, I mean, we just have a really nice game with a lot of upside ahead of us. So that is something that I personally am a big fan of. So returning right to this move of b3. If you see d5, view it like a Scandi at that point. Take on d5, play knight c3. If they want to check, fine, we'll trade down. If they don't, we can look towards bishop b2 and, you know, develop quickly, castle queenside, and put the pressure on black in a way that not many other openings do. What else could we see here? Again, knight f6. What if we see that immediate strike? e5. And with knight d5, a lot of players here end up going with bishop b2, and I understand the logic behind this. I mean, obviously, the whole point of playing b3 with the Cowboy was to get this bishop on b2. However, if you see g6 right now, I mean, there are moments where e6 can be a great move, but right now it's just not one of them. You play e6, and black can calmly push their pawn. Now it's like, do we want to lose our pawn? No. So we're going to take on d7. And black has good development here. They could look towards natural development in the future. And the engine here has about a minus 0.4 advantage for black. So nothing crazy, but I'm not feeling as white that our attacking game is all that powerful. So with knight d5, what I'm recommending here, my recommendation, again, against knight f6, you play the Cowboy, you see knight f6 immediately. My recommendation is e5 and then an immediate knight c3. Nearly all players online, and by all I mean like nearly all, I mean like 78% of the time, black takes the knight. Makes sense, right? And we'll cover that. But, I mean, what happens if black goes, fine, I'm just going to defend the knight or something? Okay, now we develop. By playing e6 and c5, you have weakened d6. We already have eyes on that square. You want to play knight c6? All right. I mean, this is a move that you could play knight to e4, covering that spot. You know, really ganging up on d6. And if something like queen c7, okay, c4, let's kick that knight around. You want to run to f4? Okay, g3. You want to run back? Okay, f4. I mean, talk about a beautiful pawn chain with a bishop supporting e5. We got a pawn looking at d6 and f6 as well as our knight. I love our chances in this kind of spot. So again, with e6, just continue development. But if black takes, which is really what you got to be prepared for because that's what you're going to see much of the time, you can take back with the d pawn. We do have doubled pawns, but white is still better. And by having these doubled pawns, you do have the flexibility in the future to play c4 at some point, which gives you access to this diagonal. It gives you access to b5 and d5. And you don't have to be worried about weakening b4 and d4 all that much because you still have a pawn behind you. That is the nice thing about having double pawns. The pawn in front can kind of push without worrying about weaknesses too much because the pawn in the back is a supporting pawn that can cover those types of spots. So knight c6 here. If you do see that kind of thing, knight f3, just develop, right? Naturally develop. We have a great space advantage here, the pawn on e5, and it's very easy for us to continue supporting it. I mean, if g6, bishop c4, let's look at that pawn on f7. If black tries to neutralize our bishop, okay, they neutralize the bishop. But look at their dark squares. I mean, this is getting uglier by the moment. Bishop f4, if bishop g7, I mean, I don't know if I want to castle queenside at this point based on our pawn structure and our lack of having a bishop on b2. So fine, we castle kingside, play something like queen e2 there. We're going to put a rook on d1. I mean, we have a great position here. A great position, and we can look to reroute our knight, our minor pieces, and just go after weaknesses. I'm not sensing that black has that many targets, whereas we have a bunch of them. And if black just goes fine, I'm going to keep developing instead, we can castle. Now, what should black do? Black should play d6. What's the chances you're going to see this? Probably not very high. But if you do, you take back. And if queen takes d6, you can trade down, and you're completely fine here. I mean, bishop f4 is a solid move, putting pressure on d6. And we're in a good spot. I like our chances. However, right, with e takes d6, if black takes with the e-pawn there, right, this gives us a winning position. That one little slip, and we're simply winning because we have rook to e1 with check. The king's in the center. We're way ahead in development, and we're really going to use tactical shots to put pressure on black. For example, let's say we see bishop to e5. Keep this idea in mind, not just in the cowboy, but in general. Black wants to castle. You just got their fianchettoed bishop out. How do you stop them from castling? Bishop h6. The purpose of this move, the sole purpose, is to keep the king in the center. And this bishop is doing a great job of that. So again, e takes d6, queen takes d6. In either case, we're fine, but e takes d6 gives us a really fun attacking position. Now let's kick things off by covering what black should do. What should black do in this kind of position? Well, black should play d6, and they should capture back with the queen. And if you see that, right, you can take back and play something like bishop f4. You don't want to play too passively here and defend the pawn on c3. You should tell black, you know what, take the pawn, I'll take one of yours, and go with that type of strategy. If e takes d6 is played, wait a second, the e file is wide open. We can play rook to e1, and if bishop e5, black wants to castle. Keep this idea in mind, not just in the cowboy, but in general. You have just lured out this fianchettoed bishop, right? Maybe there's some opening positions where you see the bishop on f6, on e5, maybe it took something, whatever. You don't want the king to castle, and you can prevent that by bishop h6. By doing this, black cannot castle. Black can't even attack our bishop right now. There's no way to move this bishop as it's pinned, and even if you could, both of those spots are completely ours, and the queen can't do anything to kick this bishop out either. So the sole purpose of this move, bishop h6, is to keep that king in the center, and I mean, that bishop's doing a great job for us. So that's something that you can rock with. And okay, going back to e takes d6, let's say bishop takes c3 is played. We can play bishop f4. Take the rook all you want. We're playing chess like a cowboy here. We're not playing timid. We're not holding back here. We are fighting for the win. And by the way, we are plus 4.5 according to Stockfish. That kind of surprised me. I knew we were better, but I didn't expect it to be that much. Castling kingside. Okay, we can take on e7. Right, take on e7. If, let's say, the knight captures back, okay, rook d1. Every single one of our pieces is active. Is black up material? Yeah. Yeah, they're up the exchange. But, I mean, look at what their pieces are doing. Not much. If queen a5, let's say the queen gets out of the way, queen f6. Why not? Looking towards bishop e5, looking at multiple mating ideas. If knight c6 stopping that, okay, bishop h6. Incredible stuff. We're in a great spot. Now we're turning the castling kingside, right? Again, black should play d6. But what if we see something like black taking on e5? I mean, black does have two attackers. We only have one defender on it. If bishop takes e5, right? This is a mistake. because we can take on f7 with check. Take on e5, and then throw in another one with our queen. And this is a knight here on e5. If the king wants to defend it, go ahead. f4, there's nowhere great for this knight to go. It's not a bishop. It can't just take a pawn there. And the engine actually has black playing knight f3 check, which is kind of a wild idea. But, I mean, just for example, let's say knight f7, black here trying to stay up. Material, f5. We're trying to break this game open. If g5, how do we activate this bishop? c4, right? Again, this cowboy bishop getting to b2 and going after that king. That's a great idea for us. And let's say the knight captures back. Okay, here we're not going to take on f7 because the knight would actually be able to take the bishop, and then it's like, why do we do that? The king's still on e8. But we can take on e5, and again, we could take on f7 here. We could play queen d5. But at this point, the best thing we can do is actually bishop g5 check and then try to distract that king, in which case we'd have f4 check from that point. If we play f4 right now, bishop takes c3, the bishop can actually take something, and technically here, black is about -2. Are they going to win? It's going to be tough, okay? This is not a fun position for black. Black's got to play with a very high level of accuracy. I mean, for example, one little slip like g5, we take it. You take back f6. I mean, this is just a fun game for us, okay? And this isn't even the best line. We made a mistake there. So, you know, that said, that is something that you want to look out for, okay? So you don't want to take on f7 there. If there's the bishop on e5 at the end of that either. Here, what can you do? Queen d5, very simple, right? The safe approach. Queen d5, we're threatening checkmate, and hey, I mean, let's say you stop it. Okay, we still take. Bishop h6 here can be played, taking away the f8 spot, and we're sitting at even material, and it's very obvious that black's king is a lot less safe than ours is. So we're in a comfortable position there. So that said, with b3, right, if you see d5, take the pawn and then play knight c3. If you see knight f6, play e5 and then play knight c3 immediately. And I love playing with those double pawns because that gives us so much more access on diagonals and files that black just doesn't have access to. And we still have that c4 bishop b2 flexibility if we want it in the future. Let's say we see this move knight c6. Right, knight c6 there. I mean, most common move in online chess. What can we do against that? Bishop b2. And, okay, I mean, again, black could try to make a strike here. Let's say knight f6. At this point, you could play e5. And then again, you know, you could develop with knight c3 there. That works. Okay, that totally works. You could also just keep developing knight f3. And if d6, ask yourself, does playing bishop b5 pin the knight? Yeah? Okay, do it. Bishop b5. This knight is pinned. If bishop d7, hey, we can take on d6. I mean, look at the activity of that bishop. Incredible. Castle kingside. If bishop e7, I do want to warn you, you know, bishop takes g7. I don't know if I recommend it, okay? Rook g8, and that rook is looking towards our king. So, sure, our bishop can get out of the way, but then bishop h3, queen d7. I don't know. It's not fun. Okay, it's very dangerous for us. So here I would probably just play something like d4. Strike in the center of the board, put pressure on c5, try to get that queen more active, and just see what happens here. We're already castled. Black is still in the center. When that happens, you want to break the center open. Black wants to keep it closed. But the best thing black can do is take, and if they do, we can capture back. If you want to take again, okay, bishop takes d7, queen takes d4. Very active position here. And if bishop f6, I mean, don't take the knight, because then bishop takes b2 and your rook is trapped. Instead of that, throw in a check. If the queen wants to block, fine. We can throw in another one and eventually play something like knight d2 here, and we're playing a very fun position, in which case we're castled. The queens are still on the board, and black has an isolated pawn on d6, and our development's better. Right? Our development's better. So really fun stuff here coming out of the Cowboy. And with bishop b2, again, if you see knight f6, you can play e5, and then from that point, even play knight f3 and look to pin that knight on c6 once d6 is played. You want to play bishop b5 if it is a pin. And if we see d5, okay, fine. We take knight c3, pretty standard stuff here. We can play queen e2 if the queen captures back. You could take with the bishop. You could also take with the knight. That works, right? Take with the knight. At bishop f5, castle queenside, and then look to fianchetto that second bishop. The engine approves of this. And I'm a big fan of this type of idea since I play the Hippo Defense as both white and black all the time. If d6 here, does bishop b5 pin the knight? Yeah. Okay, we're going to do it. Bishop b5, and if bishop d7, let's take some space there, right? Pawns side by side. The cowboy here wiping out half of the 5th rank. If a6, cool. We'll take the knight. We'll play queen e2. We know what we're doing here. We know we want to play queen e2. We know we want to play knight c3, develop, castle queenside. And if something like b5, e5 here, we can rock with this, right? Let's just cover this type of position and what can happen. If knight d5, we can take, and then guess what? The cowboy bishop comes in very handy because we can take on d6 and say thank you for the pawn on g7. And if the rook runs, okay, fine. We attack the queen. Beautiful stuff. For those of you that do play the cowboy, for those of you that have been playing it, I'm sure that you can attest to just how dangerous this quiet little bishop on b2 really is. And if black takes on e5, knight takes e5, we love this kind of setup. Or attacking the bishop. If you play queen c2, okay, we can take and just start playing attacking aggressive chess. b4, I'm not worried about that. You just gave us a great square. How are you going to kick that knight out? You can't. And we're putting pressure on c5 and b6. If you castle, f5. We're taking space on the king side of the board. Black's feeling stuck. We're just not. Now, all that said, I mean, up to this point, I don't really think any of black's options have given us that much of a hard time. I would say, though, that going back to bishop b2, e5 is a high-level move that really does look to lock down our cowboy bishop, and it tries to slow down f4. So we do got to know what we're doing against this. I recommend bishop to c4 there. Knight c3 also works, right? Knight c3 and then bishop c4, or bishop c4 and knight c3. What you're doing here is you're realizing that black, by playing e5 or c5 there and e5, sure, they've taken some dark squares, they've locked down our bishop, but what did they weaken? d5. And it's a common saying that, in the Sicilian Defense, or common knowledge that is, that you don't want to play c5 and e5. In most cases, that's a bad idea. And here, it is sound for black, but they got to be very careful. This is an outpost. This is a square that we're going to be looking to target. And let's say black attacks our bishop. Are we running away? No. We play f4. This is fun stuff. I mean, if black wants to take on f4, e5, forging ahead in the center. If you take on c4 and then decide to take, okay, e5. You play queen e7, we match that energy. Your knight's got to run back to g8. That's the only safe square that it has. We now have incredible control over d5. We could play it now or just save it for the future. And the position here speaks for itself. With something like d6, knight ge2. Solid idea in terms of how to play this one out. I mean, bishop e7, we castle kingside. Why do we put our knight on e2? Sure, eventually this knight could get to d5 or to f5, but really what we're doing here is we're allowing f4 to still be a possibility. When you're playing chess like a cowboy, you got to be looking towards that kingside break. And if bishop e6, f5, taking space, you can capture back with the b pawn if you do see the bishop take. And I just love this kind of game. a4, d3. Notice, black's bishop is horrendous. I mean, dark square pawn, dark square pawn, dark square pawn. What's that bishop doing? Our bishop, you might be wondering what's it doing at the same time, but it's only one move away from being a very active piece, and we got all these pawns on light squares, so the bishop doesn't even know the pawns are there. It doesn't know. Unless you tell the bishop, it ain't gonna know that the pawns are there. So, this is very active for white, and there's a lot of strong ideas here. We could look towards, again, bishop c1. You could look towards a rook lift at some point. You could look towards kingside expansion with the pawns. And d5 is a square that is still a hole. Does black have coverage on it? Right now they do. But it's going to be hard for them to keep that up over time. Returning to bishop b2. Let's say we see the move of e6 here. Okay, fine, we develop, right? Again, you play knight f6, we push. You play knight d5, we can offer a trade. You want to take, I like taking with the d pawn there. Here we go again, c4 is an option. We have coverage on d6 and f6. If you move the bishop, we can play bishop d3. Castling kingside is played all the time. But again, queen e2. What I love about the cowboy attack is that so many common ideas just kind of keep coming up no matter what black plays. Natural developmental chess, right? Again, we're looking towards e5, knight e5. We're looking to pin that knight if given the opportunity. We're looking at queen e2. We're looking to get this bishop active. You know what we're about at this point. And if d5, we can take and castle queenside, and hey, we're only one move from having this bishop looking all the way down to g7. Our rook's looking towards their queen. The bishop is looking towards h7 right now. I like the idea of h4. I mean, maybe we'll get some kind of Greek gift here if our opponent falls for that. And if they don't, we still have a great attacking game where we can fling pawns at our opponent like there's no tomorrow. With knight f3. If d5, again, does bishop b5 pin the knight? Yeah, do it. Even in this case, that's the right move. If black wants to take on e4, go ahead. We're going to double up on that knight. You could defend it. Okay, we take, we run away with our bishop. Black's up a pawn, but I mean, to what end? Their pawn structure is atrocious. Yes, these are doubled pawns, but they're isolated. That's the key part. These are doubled as well, but I'm not feeling as much that in the long run these are necessarily as weak, structurally that is, because f5 can be played and they're all bunched together. That said, we do have great pressure against e6 and g7 as well. But yeah, I mean, guys, these pawns are just sitting ducks. They're not great. They're just not. And finally with bishop b2, hey, if you see something like a6, okay, that's fine. That eliminates bishop b5. If knight f3 and d6, how do we approach this type of position? You could always just play d4 at this point and just kind of play it like a main line, except for the fact that you have your cowboy bishop there. And if bishop d7 or something, knight c3 naturally develop, you can, let's say you see g6. I mean, hey, take on c6, play knight d5, play actively here. And yeah, I mean, you have a really fun game. So yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. That's the Cowboy Attack. That's the introductory video in terms of the theory. Let me know what you thought of it down below. This is definitely an option that's going to make your Sicilian Defense opponent think on move 2, which is pretty rare. And yeah, let me know how you guys do with it, if you guys do try it out against the Sicilian. Quick reminder as well that I'm giving out a 30% off discount code for all of my online courses, including my over 28-hour chess endgames course that I have just put together over the past few months. If you're interested in that 30% off discount code, you can go down in the description below or the pinned comment, plug in the discount code CHESS25, and you will receive 30% off no matter how many courses you decide to invest in. Only good until the end of this month. We're days away. And I know many of y'all got to work on your endgame. So go get that course, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see y'all in the next video. I wanted to finish this video out by giving a big thanks to Walter, Steve, Rob, that's a lot of Robs, Ray, Roger, and the rest of my Patreon community. I appreciate you guys a ton. If you guys haven't checked out the Patreon before, there are some exclusive benefits that you gain by becoming a member, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Peace.